we're going to be bringing over to the show, as I have continued on my rant for 2 more minutes than Amanda probably expected. Amanda Griffiths, she is with Young Voices. She is a contributor to Young Voices. And just a little bit about Amanda as I bring her over. Hello, good morning. How are you?
I'm wonderful, Eden. So happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. As I was just about to talk to the audience about you, you are from California. You are a news contributor for Young Voices. You are a PhD student concentrating on political theory and international relations. My goodness, can we just dig in right now on that? That is just absolutely fabulous.
Absolutely, yes, that's correct. I've moved around. I grew up in the DC area, so you can't take politics out of the girl. And then I was at U Chicago for my MA, and then Los Angeles now. So I have been in cities all my life. I've been in areas that are very politically diverse all my life.
Mhm.
Always been a fish out of water, no matter what circle I'm in. You learn a lot. But yeah, it's amazing to be here and amazing to be talking with you this morning.
Oh, thank you. Well, I was reading your articles in Reason.com, National Review. You have done some phenomenal work. And, I'm looking at the news headlines this morning in conjunction with your most recent article on Gavin Newsom vetoing the California crypto regulations. And as you stated, inviting even worse federal intervention. And, as I sit here from a political standpoint, we are looking at midterms. We're 20 days out. We are looking at what is the presidency going to look like. Do you think Gavin Newsom thinks he is sitting on something hot that he will run in 2024? What are your thoughts on that?
I do, Eden. Gavin Newsom has been gunning for a presidential campaign for a really long time. This is the kind of thing that he's been gearing up for. He's surrounded by people in California who are very politically homogenous. So he's
Mhm.
surrounded by people who are going to tell him yes, yes, yes all the time. That's never good. Right now, Governor Newsom seems to be styling himself as sort of a progressive shadow or a progressive foil to Ron DeSantis, particularly with recent policies that he's putting in the hopper. And this
Mhm.
crypto veto seems like a way to curry favor, in particular with people in Washington, but this is nothing new for Governor Newsom. It's
Mhm.
unfortunately a classic case of a politician doing the right thing, vetoing a very heavy handed regulation that would kneecap innovation
Mhm.
worldwide, really, when you think about the California investor market.
Mhm.
Vetoing this, which is a great thing, but doing it for the wrong reasons, doing
Mhm.
it to roll out the welcome mat for even more
Mhm.
extensive federal regulation. Maybe he hopes to be a part of it.
I lost you there for a second. Let me go into this really quickly. A couple
Sure.
of things that I noticed in your article that I have cited at the bottom. The news articles in Reason.com. It is Gavin Newsom vetoed the California crypto regulations and invited even worse federal interventions. A couple of things that I've noticed from your article: lip service of Gavin Newsom, outlawing the crypto in California, inviting worse Fed interventions, cutting and blocking residents. And something that stood out to me is it looks as though he is really taking a more authoritarian approach to running the state of California. And, a lot of people on the East Coast, and I live in North Carolina, and the further south you get, the freer you become. And I keep saying that because there's a lot of truth in that. And we in the South do not like the authoritarian state. And what I'm seeing from Newsom is some of the comments, the pieces that you wrote in that editorial are very concerning. If he would run for president, is he going to be, cutting and blocking his constituency, the people that vote him from having aspects of freedom? I've heard him say and quote, "What is freedom?" And he starts laughing. What are your thoughts on that?
It's very concerning, Eden. I don't know how much of me you lost, but I was saying that in terms of a presidential run, Governor Newsom might even hope to be a part of some of that regulation down the line, that he's rolling out the welcome mat for more federal regulation. It's disturbing to me for a couple of reasons. First of all, when you think about all the innovation that is available in California that can go worldwide, I just focus on the crypto market in this piece. But when you think about all of this and you think about the way that we're not looking to the innovators, we're not looking to the people who are really going to be making the changes in the space, we're looking to federal bureaucrats, in Governor Newsom's case, to set the tone and to set the rules. It's concerning to me as someone who wants to see access, financial access, broadened just overall and broadened across California. Cryptocurrency has been an incredible boon to new investors, people who are chronically unbanked or underbanked, people who have been traditionally cut off from the financial space. And now these bills that Governor Newsom is vetoing only to roll out the welcome mat for more federal regulation are going to choke consumers even more from that access.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you this. As I had mentioned, the Daily Signal put out this morning, the Heritage Foundation think tank, they talked about Biden's abuse of power. Congress looks the other way, and shocker for both of us to hear that, right? Um,
Right.
but it says 4.5 billion have been added to the taxpayers. And what an enormous burden. And, my thinking is, is this going to turn the tide for Congress to basically end up being red in November? What are your thoughts on that initially? I mean, is that going to open up tremendous doors for all of these campaigns as we're 20 days out? What are your thoughts on that?
People are talking about that. People are talking about a red wave. What I really want to see from any party that's in power is I want them to earn the majority. I don't
Hmm.
want them to just win a majority. I want them to earn a majority. And
Hmm.
right now we have politicians that are really managing to almost turn away from the opportunities they have from their constituents
Hmm.
to learn from them. So, will there be a red wave? There might be. And if there is, in that case, I would hope to see what people haven't seen from Democrats over the past couple of years, what Democrats promised and didn't deliver on, which is actually listening to the people, actually listening to
Hmm.
people who are going to be, who are going to be wanting this kind of access to to change and to opportunity. They've been cut off from that for a very, very long time.
Hmm. No, I agree with you. I had ran for state house in May for the primary for North Carolina, and talking about people being cut off. I was door knocking, which I think is a Kennedy Reagan, generational thing, because it seems as though a lot of people no longer do the door knocking. It's more, let's call the constituents, let's bombard them with 10,000 mailers to get the vote and get the visual. And, I realized I love door knocking. I love working with people. I love being a public servant, whether it's through the show, whether it's through my business, whether it is talking with you, and realizing that at the end of the day, these people, these voters have been neglected. They have been neglected. So many of them had said to me, "Thank you for coming to our doorstep. We have not seen anybody in years." And looking at what is happening across the political spectrum, looking what is happening across the states, the battleground states. North Carolina is a huge battleground state. I'm here in Chester County, Pennsylvania for the week with my family, and we have the Oz Fetterman race, and it is neck to neck, literally. And people are awakened. They are concerned to see what is happening. They're concerned to see the gas prices. They're concerned to see where are they going to be able to put food on the table. And looking at your article on Newsom and just the regulations and what is even more regulations, people are regulated out. They are fed up. They are exhausted. What are your thoughts to the contenders as okay, we wake up November 9th, we have the official red wave. what are your thoughts to that? Is it going to be the awakening of our nation, or is it going to be the downfall of more executive orders? You know, I sit here and kind of chuckle. You and I both chuckle, having been in DC all those years. I was there for 20 years. You know, as you said, you came from there, so you and I both know how things get rolled out. What are your thoughts to that?
My thoughts to that are that there are concerns that I have from any side of the spectrum when it comes to that. We've seen uh, a lot of overstep of government power, a lot of overstep of executive orders. Once again, the veto of the bill that Governor Newsom just put through is a great example. You have something that looks like a good thing, that looks like it's pro innovation. We're going to veto this bill because it's premature. Well, why is it
Mhm,
premature? Because
mhm,
it's not regulatory enough. It might be too harsh on federal regulation. But
mhm,
we see this from all angles, and it's concerning that back and forth we have various types of bureaucratic overreach, we have various types
mhm,
of bureaucratic overstep, and in the meantime a lot of rhetoric that is very divisive. I would be concerned, with any wave of power, red wave, blue wave. I feel like this is a tongue twister, just simply because anytime you have a huge concentration of one given party, it becomes
mhm.
that much easier to drown out any other voice.
Right, right. No, I hear what you're saying. Let me also ask you this. With regards to, I want to talk a little bit about young voices. Having been on this show for 2 months now, having this show, I have had many young voices come. But if you could share what you are doing with young voices, talk about some of the articles that you're going to be having come up. And I have been watching your interviews, and I do want to encourage for my audience to check out Young Voices. But talk to me a little bit about what that looks like. Help them understand what is the initiative of Young Voices and how did you get involved? Because my husband and I mentor a lot of teenagers and a lot of college, and that is very important to us for them to get involved in a certain way.
Young voices, and it's a wonderful question. I love talking about young voices. It's a wonderful initiative for 18 to 35-year-olds who
Mhm,
are heterodox thinkers. They cast a wide net, really trying to get their start in journalism, in writing, in speaking, in commentary. And what they do, if you think of a cross between a PR agency and a
yeah,
talent agency, what they
mhm,
do is they provide that training, that coaching, that professional development, and your writing and speaking and commentary to
mhm,
really get you out there, help you make the career connections that you might want, and also just get the training that's going to improve you. I've been in academia for a really long time. So you learn to write in a particular way, you learn to speak in a particular way, but maybe that's not always the right format for people.
mhm,
And so
mhm,
Young Voices is great at providing that training and that coaching, and also providing those connections. And in the end, allowing you to be able to pitch yourself, you to be able to brand yourself with that support in place. Young Voices is wonderful. I got my start. I'm not even sure how I found them, but looking for an outlet here in California, where, again, like I said, there's a lot of homogeneity here politically, wanting to
yes.
be able to dialogue with different people, with different ideas. And it's an amazing initiative. I've improved so much. I've met so many wonderful people, gotten to talk to so many great people. So anyone who's interested in Young Voices, definitely check them out. And they have a bunch of side initiatives too. The Dissident Project, where they've got young people going to schools all across the country who have escaped totalitarian and communist and
Mm,
socialist regimes, educating people, young people, on the horrors of socialism. These are young people doing this for high schoolers. It's incredibly
mhm,
profound. Young Voices is involved in that. So this is a wonderful opportunity for anyone to get involved, whether as a contributor, as a donor,
mhm.
anything whatsoever. And no, I was not paid to say that. You asked me that. I had no idea you were going to ask me to say that. So
No, I wanted to. I have so many different guests from Young Voices, and I appreciate each and every one of you. You bring your own talents to the table, your own topics to the table. But I really never dug in deep with any of the guests from Young Contributors to or Young Voices to really talk about the commentating, the contributing, and what that looked like. And I'm grateful that you shared that. Our audience ranges from North Carolina to all across the country. I have so many people supporting the show, and our radio network is out of Raleigh, but our podcast goes across all platforms. So I know a lot of young individuals are watching and will tune in later when this is back on. Let me also ask you something as we head into my next segment. We have about a minute and a half left. I wanted to ask you really quickly what items are you going to be writing about, bringing up? What can we look for from you in the coming weeks, especially with midterms?
Sure. I continue to write about the potential of decentralized finance. I continue to write about monetary and financial policy. Education policy is a huge, huge issue for me. So look for articles on that, and in particular, foreign policy. I'm still
Mhm.
looking for answers on foreign policy and international diplomacy. And so there's a lot going on in the international space. America's role abroad is a huge question, especially going into the new year and going into 2024. It's a huge question on the table. So that's going to be something that I'm really going to be focusing on over the next few weeks and months.
Well, on that note, let me just throw in a last question. This morning, it was on Daily Signal again. They had a lot of great articles this morning. The American military is losing ground to China. And when you had talked about the international focus, do you have any thoughts on that? Because I know the recruitment has been lowest since 1940, since before World War II for the United States Army. What are your thoughts on that on the international front as it pertains to our national security?
It's a big concern, and particularly as it pertains to China and the Chinese Communist Party. I've
Mhm.
written a lot on them and the threat that they pose to their own people, the threat that they pose worldwide, the threat that they pose to the environment. Recently, I wrote an article published in National Review Online that talks about how the Inflation Reduction Act actually might expand our carbon footprint by outsourcing it to China and the Chinese
Mhm.
Communist Party
Mhm.
because of the way that we tie people's hands with regulatory tape here. It's very
Mhm.
concerning.
Yes,
Militarily, it all plays in.
yes, no, I saw that article. That was a great article in National Review. In that, as we are looking at 2023, 2024, do you foresee with everything going on in the war in the Ukraine and the constant Russian moving in, what are your thoughts on that? We have personal friends who went back to the Ukraine to fight. They moved their family to our neighborhood and then went back to fight, and they're in Kiev. And so you see it constantly being bombed in the past couple days. What are your thoughts on just the movements over there and what's to come in the coming week?
It's tragic and it's unpredictable. You have someone who is rattling his saber constantly, and you don't really know what's a threat, what's a flex, and what do we do in response.
Hmm.
It's going to be one of those issues that it is not going to be easy to solve, and it's not going to be something that one movement can really change things, but it's definitely
Hmm.
something to watch out for. I am concerned about about threats with regard to tactical nuclear weapons. I would be
Yes.
more concerned, however, with in the immediate sense, I'd be more concerned with chemical weapons. I would see that as something that potentially might be a test run. I would look to that before I would really anticipate any tactical nuclear weapons. This is coming as someone who has no information inside whatsoever, but studying this,
Yes.
that would be something I'd be concerned about next.
Yes. On that note, Amanda, I would love to have you come back to the show right after the election. I'd love your analysis, your political science analysis. I would love to just engage you in a greater conversation, and just grateful to you and Young Voices and your most recent work in reason.com and also National Review. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful and blessed day.
Eden, it would be my pleasure, and you do the same.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.